Everyone thinks and speaks from what they have in their own heads and in their heart. And this is not our responsibility. Welcome to Clichés Reinvented, Reinventing Life's Clichés, a space where I'm going to share information, thoughts, and insights to help us both live a life in consciousness. These are reflections that have helped me with my personal growth and to live a, a happier and more conscious life. This is why now I want to share them with you. I want to thank you for being here today and taking the time to listen to this podcast. Really, thank you for being here with me and with yourself. Stop thinking about what they will say. So, it is something that sounds so simple, but it's so difficult. Like most of the things, it has already happened to me, and even to this day, that I had already tackled like this issue of not taking things or comments of others like personally. Well, despite of it, it is still a challenge in my life. Like when we enter to the world of personal growth, like we reach to this point where the opinion of third parties must stop being in first row, like must stop taking all of our attention. And certainly because of our own well-being, it must go into the background. But sadly, it is not that easy as it sounds. Like sometimes some time ago, I was thinking about like this topic over and over in my head, which I wanted to write about, but for some reason like I just didn't do it. Didn't did it. And then it happened that after a long time, like gossips and comments from third parties managed to take away my peace. And I mean, it was like I really have worked like really hard, like in my peace, like to be peaceful, like to be chill for so long. And I know this might not sound like as a big deal, but for me it was because I was really working on myself, on my peace, on to stop caring about what others thought about me or talked about me. And then it happened again. So, like, maybe some of you can relate to it, and like, when you keep working on something like for your life, and then it happens like a challenging thing, and then you go down again, it happens. And this is why I say, like, we are here for a reason, and we will never stop learning or evolving. So no matter how much like we think we have already achieved it, at least for as long as we're here, we will keep learning. So this person's comments came through, which were actually gossip because it was never like face to face, like when it's face to face it's just something completely different. And like even though I didn't got like way too irritated or angry or whatever, anyway, despite of the fact that I was trying to cover it up, and at first as if it didn't really affected me, it ended up affecting me. And I saw myself spending my time and my thoughts on this stupid thing. Like really. Which really wasn't that worth it of my attention. Like really, like I realized this like just now. Sorry, it was my timer. um, but the point is that of this tiny like storytelling is that even though I wanted to write about it, I felt that me myself like I wasn't achieving it in my life. And it was like, how am I going to write about something that is like not right, like that I haven't not been able to handle till this point in my life. However, the fact is that it is already something that is in the past and it's over, like the situation already it's already gone, and it's no longer like it's stealing my peace. Like I talked to my mom, like I dealt with it, and it's gone. However, it happens that I used to say that no one thinks of you. Like everyone is in their own world, everyone is thinking about themselves. Like, why am I going to worry about what others say if, like, after all, no one's thinking of you? Like, it was like, I'm not that important. And the truth is that this way of thinking helped me a lot to get rid of this fear of what they will say and to be able to be myself without really caring about what people thought. Let's say like that's why maybe one of the reasons it was so easy to bring my podcast to light, like publishing it, because I mean I say so easy at this moment, but in reality like it wasn't. It was like 2 months of fear and doubt, but at the end like I did it, and that's what matters. But it was like, like what? I don't care. Like, it's my life. I do what I want. I love this. I don't need your approval. And in the end, what? Like, it's not like people talk about me. So, whatever. And well, this is true in a certain way because little by little I've evolved and I've become more myself, and I care less and less about what people think about me. So I had like this way of thinking where I thought like this is who I am. If you like it, great. If not, then great too. Like thank you, next, bye. And like I'm not gonna force like anything to happen. And I'm not gonna change my way of being for others to like me. Even though I still think like this way in a certain way because in reality it makes me be real towards who I am and towards people as well. Like this does not means that I have the right to go to through life like believing I'm the center of the world and not caring about what others think about me. Like keep keep on doing like just whatever I want because and being mean to people, being mean to the world. Because another thing that I've learned is that even though we should always be real towards ourselves, like doing what we like and being who we want and so on. However, is a big no, no, like crossing the limit of respect towards others. Because, okay, like it's understandable that our personalities just don't match like with other people, and it's okay, like there's no problem. But this does not mean that I have the right to disrespect you or cause you harm, like cause harm to others, even through my own words. Like it is something that must be taken into account at the moment in which we decide that the opinion of others will go into the background. Because even though we no longer care, we must continue behaving and living according to our values and without causing damage, because as I have like already said, everything comes back to us. And the idea is as well like not to go around leaving enemies in our way. I know there are people who like to be problematic, to like to get into fights, like they enjoy really having arguments with people, but I mean, I don't consider myself that way. And in fact, like, I like to socialize, I like to meet people, and maybe with many, I may not have things in common. And this will never give me the right to disrespect them for supposedly doing whatever I want, and that I have the right to speak and the right to do whatever. Like, there are limits everywhere. So going back to Colombia, like Kalini storytelling, on talking to people, I realized that people do really talk about you. And it's actually interesting because I swear, like I really swear I thought they didn't. And I know this might sound a bit dumb or childish, like, but it's the truth. Just as sometimes ourselves talk about people, let's say, like for example, in my case, with my mom, with friends, whatever, like it does not necessarily have to be gossiping, like talking trash about others. Like it's not always like that. Well, just as we talk, people will also talk about me or about anyone else. And I feel like this is normal because I mean, sure, conversations are more than talking about others, but let's just face it, like we live in a society, in a community full of people. We live surrounded by people. And it's impossible not to ever talk about others. And with this talking, I'm not referring to the gossiping, although let's say like in my culture it's normal for it to be gossip, but it's not always like that. You can talk about others, about another person in the way of admiration, recognition, or reflection. And actually, this is towards where we should guide our conversations, like not just like empty gossip, which is just empty conversations that doesn't really help us actually. So yeah, like people do talk about you, and this does not have to be bad news for us. Before I had this thought as well that it's better that they talk than if they didn't. It didn't really matter to me if it was trash or whatever. I was like, better that they talk. But lately, I don't feel that comfortable with this position because, in the case that what is talked about is like, it's not positive or it's not good, it's like what I did so that third parties have that opinion about me. And it is not, I mean, it's not getting to this extreme of living based upon and what others think about us. No, like it's just to see how others are seeing me in order to make a reflection about our own behavior towards society, like in order to improve. Because in some cases, like not always, but in some cases, we don't see our own defects, our own mistakes. And that's the point where taking a look at what others are thinking about you or are saying, like, may be a great tool to improve. And it must be done very carefully because if we're not prepared to face reality or harsh comments, it may break us. Like, just we must have to face it. But with like the correct guidance and everything, it can be a really great tool to improve. The point where I want to get like to this to the point where I want to get with this episode is that despite the fact that people do talk about you and our name might be at any time in someone else's mouth, regardless of what they're saying, we have to work on us so that this does not strongly affect us. Whatever someone else says, like it can be good or bad. Of course, like, I mean, when people speak good about you, this does not make you feel bad. This does not make us feel bad. Of course, like, but we must also be careful with this part because living based on what others think about us pulls us away from who we really are and can make us forget our own defects and mistakes and things that we still need to improve on in ourselves and in our own lives, like our own behavior. And it can makes us forget that we are a constant work in progress, which never ends, at least in this life. It's important to work on ourselves till the point where what people say becomes a zero to the left. I don't know if this saying works in English the same way it does as in Spanish. I don't think so, but the fact is that it has to lose its importance, like a zero to the left. Like it's like who cares about it? Because it makes no difference. So, because the truth is that living based on what people say is just trash. Like, it's just not worth it. Seriously, we can even lose or forget our own identity by living thinking about what we believe others think about us. because in reality we do not even know for sure what is going on in someone's head, like when they think about us, or even when we are with them and when we are not. So like trying to figuring this out can be really exhausting, if not impossible. The purpose is knowing who we really are, knowing what and why we have done everything we have done. Knowing our values, being conscious that this is my life and that no one is living it for me. That what I feel, only I am feeling it, no one else, and that we have our own reasons for behaving the way we behave, and knowing that the only validation like we really need is our own. When we understand that people may talk about us at any time, whenever they want, it can be good or bad, whatever, anyways, we know who we are. We know what we're capable of, and we know that we're being real with ourselves and with the world. And what the other says, well, it loses its importance. It's what the other is saying, not what I'm saying. And this opens an infinite door to our own freedom and happiness because we're not hiding anything from ourselves. People may give their opinion, they always will, but we must always keep in mind that each person gives his or her opinion and speaks from what he or she has in their head and in their heart. And that's not our responsibility. Yes, I'm repeating. Yes. Here I am referring more than anything to gossip, like in comments that are directed to us and that might hurt us, like they're not really nice. Even if we try to cover it up or hide it, the idea will always be to find a way to talk to the other person to solve these issues, because if not, like they'll grow like a snowball until it explodes. And the best might be to talk to that person without looking for a fight, but instead looking for an agreement or a solution. And just spoiler, we can always support ourselves in manifesting healthy relationships with other people and expressing all the positive things we want in every part of our life. Thank you for arriving to the end of this episode. I hope you really enjoy it as much as I did. And I hope maybe you think about it and just start to work a little bit more on yourself. And I will as well, so that all these comments and stuff going on around us just loses its importance, and we start to really realize what's really important in our life, that it's what's inside of us. Thank you. Hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.